for the most part, was executed to perfection. But as the shooting kind of tailed off, and those turnovers continued to pile up, the Sky were able to fight their way back into the game, and the Misses had to go back to work. And like you said, as they were able to settle the game back down, they grew another double-digit lead. But they got a little loose with the ball again. Then the fouls started piling up, and the Sky were going to the free throw line. That allows them to close the gap again. But shout out to the Mystics, man. Like you brought up, they closed it very strong defensively, despite the shaky whistle. You know, a lot, and kudos to them for that, to mentally stay in it, because a lot of teams would kind of back off their aggression and be kind of hesitant to dig in and get scrappy. But that's what saved the game for them. They continue to battle for rebounds. They continue to get on the floor. They continue to to be aggressive on defense, especially on the perimeter. Kennedy Carter continues to be a problem, but yeah, man, they continue to get in there and at least make life tough. So, I mean, they've gone through it obviously for this first portion of the season, but they're starting to find a way to win those games that they would have lost earlier. This is a game they lose 5 games ago. So we're seeing some progress. Also, Ariel Atkins, she looks comfortable now. She looks very comfortable now, as to where at the beginning of the season she looked, for lack of a better word, unsure of herself and a little indecisive. But now all that is out the way. She's getting right to it, getting to her mid range, pulling up, shooting, catch and shoot threes with confidence, and she's being the offensive player we know she can be. And yeah, that also carried them to this win, because Ariel had 29 points, 9 of 13 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3, and perfect from the line. They don't win if she doesn't perform that way.
Yeah, I think the perfect way you brought it up. I think the first thing that jumped in my mind about her performance is about Atkins. She was just decisive tonight. There was no hesitation about anything she was about to do. She got straight to it. I know you and Cardell talked, several times about them at times settling for jumpers, just not getting downhill. That clearly wasn't the case. You're 29 on 13 shots. You was 9 of 13 for the field. You got to the line 9 times. And we saw there was a couple stretches where Washington was looking for answers offensively. She just got to the line. She put her head down, got downhill, got to the line. I thought she did a great job all game. You were joking in the group chat early in the game, just what it's been like for Lee Edwards. Soon as she sees Chicago, it's been go from opening tip. And I thought her strong start to the game helped set a tone for them. And they got off to a great start in that first quarter. But then the second quarter, you mentioned the live ball turnovers. I think like 8 of them in that quarter. And that's what kept Chicago in it. And we know Chicago thrives off of those. And some of them are just horrible telegraph passes. And you can't do that stuff against Chicago. They're looking for that stuff. Once, anytime I think we both seen Chicago play several times. Anytime they get in a little bit of trouble, it's almost like it kicks in. They just start hunting those passing lanes. And they get right back to it. Next thing you know, you're in trouble. Momentum's going crazy. Ball pressure's wild. But also credit to Washington. We saw them keep their composure, as you mentioned. I thought they kept their composure pretty well in the third quarter. And then, like you said, with the very interesting whistle at home late, that was tough as well. All right, I got to ask whatnot. Also, they out-rebounded Chicago, which is something, the boxes, we talk about some of the boxes that have been checked or did not get checked in games. I think the biggest one for me, and this one that the only negative I really had, was live ball turnovers. Like you mentioned, it hurt them a lot tonight. Like it literally just kept them 24 points off turnovers tonight. 24. Chicago wasn't getting, they didn't have a good flow in the half court outside of Kennedy Carter. But player of the game, Ray?
One Miss Ariel Atkins. She was about business, man. She torched them, and it didn't matter who was in front of her. She went to work, man, and it's good to see that from her, because she didn't have a good start to the season, but the last couple games she seemed to find her groove and find her rhythm. and and yeah, we know what it's like when she gets going. So hopefully this continues.
Yeah, obviously that is. I do not have another candidate. This is very simple. It's unanimous. Hell of a performance from her on both sides of the ball. Obviously, I just love the fact that she got to the line 9 times. Like, truly love he got to the line that much. And they needed her because they got kind of funky trying to close. You know, you guys brought that up many times earlier this year. How things get shaky in terms of executing on offense, and she came through late. X Factor, who you have?
I went with the Rook. Aaliyah had a great game, man. You mentioned the energy she started with, and yeah, that definitely set the tone. That first quarter, man, she setting hard screens and rolling hard to the basket. Um, just doing that opens up a lot. A couple times they were able to hit her for layups, and a couple times the fact that she set the screen that well, it nullified the point of attack defender. Then she rolled hard and put the backside defender put him in a no-win situation. They got to make a choice, and fortunately, the ball handler made the right choice a lot of times, whether it was to continue to score because they had the space, or to find the lead on the roll. So yeah, man, just her overall energy, her execution. Yeah, that gets her the X factor tonight.
All right, so I'm gonna piggyback off your answer. I'm gonna copy your answer, and then throw in obviously without Shakira, the rim protection, 3 blocks is huge. Everything you said plus the 3 blocks. Obviously, we know you have Steph down there. She's there to clog up the paint. Obviously, great size. Um, Chicago has a lot of players that love to get downhill. Agile players that like to get downhill. Those are big blocks, man. Those are big blocks, and like you said, the energy on both ends. And then she shot the ball well. You know, we talked about the free throw shooting at times. 4 or 5 from the line tonight, 6 or 7 from the floor. The only negative were the fouls. And again, we talked about 3 of those 5 were kind of shit. Three of the 6 fouls, a little shaky. But you know, refs are refs. We're gonna leave that for what it is. But yeah, I just love the energy tonight. After I thought it was just rookies, you have up and down performances. After probably wasn't her standard performance in a game against the Dream, in which they got the win, and to see that it didn't turn into 2 games, immediately responded with the high. So shout out to them for that. They get some time to recuperate, rest to get right, and then we'll be back in action. Let me get this because I don't want to tell you the wrong day. They'll be back in action Wednesday on the road against the Fever. So a whole lot of social media commentary expected for that one for sure. For Ray and myself, y'all have a great night.